All right, so let's go into the next one. And this is one I think every other law grifter is going to grift on. Every other law grifter is going to grift on this. So I just want to grift on it first. But I think this is something that can be concluded in 5 minutes or less. So here we go. Let me talk about this. The people are going to make this into an hour-long video. It's not. Let's talk about Baldwin, right? So Baldwin's charges just got reduced over the Rust shooting. I've said this before, and whenever you put a Baldwin thing up, it goes crazy, which is why people do this. But this is very simple. Very simple. Alec Baldwin was never going to go to jail for any significant period of time. He's never going to sit in a prison for 5 years. Folks that thought and were out there fapping away in a corner that he's going to go away for 5 years, you were delusional. Anybody who was selling you that was fucking lying to you. Baldwin was always going to get a slap on the wrist. The fact that they dropped the firearm enhancement is not a thing. So what did they do? So he had 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. But one of those counts had a firearm enhancement. So the involuntary manslaughter in the commission of a lawful act that carried a firearm enhancement, which made the crime punishable by a mandatory 5 years in prison. The problem was apparently there was a legal argument that was enacted, officially enacted after Baldwin had already committed the crime. So they were going to challenge that. They were going to appeal that, all that sort of stuff. And they said, nah, we're just going to, instead of having them fight that because Baldwin has money for real lawyers, we're just going to drop it. I think, by the way, that's fair. I think dropping something is fair if it's ex post facto law. I think it's perfectly fine. But now it goes back to what I said, which was 18 months, which we were looking at originally. We were always looking at 18 months, never 5 years. I talked about that in my previous video, and I don't think he's serving more than 6 months of probation, to be completely honest. So I think that based on this attitude, because here's what you got to think. The prosecutors are being reasonable. Look at what they said here. In order to avoid further litigious distractions by Mr. Baldwin and his attorneys, the district attorney and the special prosecutor have removed the firearm enhancement to the involuntary manslaughter charges and the deaths of Halna Hutchins on the Rust film set. The attorney for Hannah, who was responsible for the weapon, said her attorney said they applaud the decision. So they agree with it. People say if there's little to no precedent for a Hollywood actor to face criminal charges. Nah, just because they haven't done it doesn't mean the facts don't merit it. So what's going to ultimately happen to Baldwin here? Baldwin will come to some sort of agreement, some sort of plea deal. He's going to plea. He's going to get some minor sentence. It's going to be probation, maybe a year, maybe 6 months, something like that. And he's going to walk. I know people try to make this into a big deal. He's not going to be locked up. He's not going to go away. And by the way, he's already grifted on making the proceeds to go to the family of Halna Hutchins. So we're just going to see that happen. We're just going to see him grift off that. And also say guns are bad. Also say guns are bad. By the way, I don't know if you saw, I got to bring this up. Speaking of guns are bad and like really bad takes. The kid from Parkland, Earth, good to see you checking in the chat. Vince Clortho, if you own a gun, law of self-defense is worth it 100%. Brandon says, are we letting him off? Are we letting him off? Definitely a two-shot Tuesday. Two-shot Tuesday. I see one shot in the PayPal, Brandon. See one shot. I'll do another shot at the end. I'll give you a finisher. That's on the house. But yeah, Hog is on his bullshit again. And I want to bring this up real quick because I see a lot of people responding to it. So let me respond to it as well. Which is talking about our rights, right? And what our rights are. Here's his comment that I think a lot of people brought up. This is the Parkland kid. We have the right not to be shot. We have the right to survive math class. We have the right to safety. We have the right to a future. We have the right to not be murdered. Murder is the ultimate infringement on our rights. So, equating all of these things as rights. First of all, very few of these are actually, if any, are rights. Technically, yes, you do have the right not to be murdered, i.e., it is a crime, but it's not like a fundamental right of the government to protect you from all harm. That's not a responsibility of the government. The government doesn't guarantee your physical safety. It guarantees the government won't be the agent of that, but other private parties very much can cause that. But here's the ultimate problem I have with this. Okay, sure. Let's even say these things were right. What would prevent you from being shot? What would allow you to be safe? What would allow you to have a future? What would allow you to not be murdered? Well, the policy that flows from this is not inherently the banning of guns. In fact, allowing firearms at schools in the hands of teachers, in the hands of adults, might be the solution to those problems. What the policy reaction to that is now, okay, ban guns. In fact, to me, it's like, okay, yeah, sure, good point. That's the right to carry at school. You just proved the need for the right to carry at school. Thank you, David. Thank you.